What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Cybersecurey I'm your girl, Val Forensic Gal. I know it seems like I don't have like a whole bunch of energy today. I'm a little bit exhausted. It's been a long week, but I'm here and I'm doing the show. So today, I actually named the show Chinese surveillance on citizens, or Chinese citizen surveillance. But then I thought about it and I thought, wait a minute, I like the name where it's saying intrusive, where I'm calling it Chinese being intrusive on their citizens. But we're going to talk about all of that today because last week, as we all know, what's his name? Snow Chu testified before, was it Shou Chu or Snow Chu? I think it's Shou Chu, excuse me. So Shou Chu testified before Congress in regards to TikTok. And we've covered TikTok for the last couple weeks, and the fact of what's going on with this TikTok app and the data that's being collected by their parent company, ByteDance. So we're here to talk about that again today. But before I jump into that topic, I want to talk about a story I found. And I'm like, where was I when this happened, right? But I found it, and I'm like, oh, of course I'm going to talk about it because I drove for Uber. And I have done over 6,000 rides for Uber. And at the time that I was doing it, the money was great until it stopped being so great. And we had to go and protest, and we had to go and deal with unions and fight on behalf of the drivers and that sort of thing. So we're going to talk a little bit about the story that happened back in, October 2022. So Joe Sullivan, he actually worked for Uber, and he was the chief executive officer, and so here's the thing. He actually also worked for the U.S. Attorney District's office, dealing with cyber crimes. This is what this man did for years. So he had a career in helping protect our information. And I used to live in the Bay, so he was apparently helping to protect my stuff too. But he also decided he would not tell the authorities. Now, okay, let me back up a little bit. Uber got hacked in 2016. And I've always wondered if what I've been dealing with has to do with this damn hack, because the hackers basically did this ransomware where they're like, look, we have gotten hold of Uber's database. We're talking millions of drivers and riders. Got all this information from driver's license to addresses to social security numbers, had it all. But they didn't want to give back this information unless they got paid. So Joe Sullivan tried to hide the fact that he paid them off. And he also tried to protect the identity of the hackers. So that's not good. And I always knew there was something going on behind the scenes. It's like I felt that way. You know, I just had this instinct like, wait a minute now, it's what I'm doing. Because what happened to me with the hacking and all this intrusive behavior and the hacking and the stalking and all this stuff that's been happening in my life happened directly after Uber got hacked. But I'm not sure, you know. It's hard to say. Anyways, they found that he was working to hide the data breach from the U.S. Regulatory Federal Trade Commission. And this was following the hack in 2016. So he was fired in 2017. 57 million Uber user records were basically confiscated, like I said, driver's license number and all of that good stuff, snatched up by the hackers. The payment was disguised as a bug bounty, and that was the first time I've ever actually heard bug bounty, but it's a reward used to pay cybersecurity researchers who disclose vulnerabilities. So he was looking out for himself. Now, this man was a servant to the city of San Francisco for years, and now is the time, back in 2022, is when he decided that he would, excuse me, got to get my charger. During that time is when he decided he would not reveal the information that the authorities have been asking about. They paid the hackers over $100,000 in Bitcoin and had them sign a non-disclosure agreement. So, nope, they took his ass down. They came for him, and they said, no. Matter of fact, where's this picture, Michael?
Say that again?
Where's this picture? Yep, there he is, Joe Sullivan. That's the guy right there. So he was found guilty on one count of obstructing the FTC's investigation and one count of misprison or acting to conceal a felony from authorities. Why would he do that? Why do you think he would do that? Money. It's all about the money. So this is why he was negotiating with the hackers and paying them to keep quiet. Look, if I ain't heard it all. If I ain't heard it all, this is some bullshit. And we think, here we are using Uber. You're just putting Uber in your phone. You just want to get a ride somewhere. And a whole lot of data is collected from them picking you up, where they picked you up, you know, and there's sensors. So that you guys know, there's sensors in these devices. I wanted to show there we go. Because I want my university show. Anyways, there are sensors in these devices, so you touch them, and it can pick up on your body warmth, you know, whether you're breathing heavy. It allows it to check your temperature, all of that just from holding your phone. So now we're going to jump into, I just wanted to cover this story really quick because I found it and I was like, for real? And at the time I was I was dealing with so much that I didn't even pay attention to the news. So I'll probably be bringing stories back that you guys were like, oh, maybe I heard about that. I think I heard about that, but I'm not sure. But they just took him down. And they're basically saying, you're going to jail. I know he's thinking twice, like, damn, why'd I do that? Why'd I do that shit? You know? Anyways, moving on. So, listen. TikTok, they have accumulated so much of our information, all right? And they don't even let their citizens have all this access to certain content, but yet we do. So I'm wondering, okay, why do they allow us why are they trying to string us and reel us in? Why do they want us addicted to this? But they won't let their own citizens do it. So I said, okay, I'm going to break this shit down. So we're going to take a look. And I ramble on so much. I hope we get through all of this. Because this week I want to look at Chinese surveillance and some of the things that they're doing in China, and then versus what happens here in the U.S. And then we'll kind of compare the two and just see who's worse. Is China worse? Which seems like China is actually way worse than we are as far as surveillance is concerned. Now, China has 1 billion cameras, and that is more than half of the cameras in the world. Okay? 1 billion cameras are in China. Think about it. That's a lot. Can you show the next picture? Because I think I have an example of the cameras. This is how their shit is set up. Maybe we need it in the U.S. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we need this shit right here in the United States, because I dare you to try and go get away. Like if you're trying to go rob from a store, or you're trying to snatch someone's purse or anything like that, they're going to catch you, no doubt about it. They're going to find you, right? And they put these cameras everywhere, multiple cameras. Is that not the most absurd thing? I'm looking at it like, whoa, no wonder their citizens want to come here. A lot of them can't wait. And these cameras have the ability, they have these sensors where they can analyze your face, right? And they can literally, what am I trying to say? So they analyze your face, and they can, from that, pull information Okay, so they're looking at your irises. They're looking at the shape of your nose. They're looking at the shape of your mouth. Everything that is unique to you is how they're able to track you, right? And I guess that makes sense. At the same time, it's like, wait a minute, where is the privacy? Where is the damn privacy? China is way too out of control and way too intrusive with their surveillance. So they put all this information that they've gathered from the cameras into a large database. So there's the face right there. And the camera picks up, you know, the pixels, and it picks up the diameter, the features, the width of your nose, the how full your lips are, how large your nose holes are. I mean, it gets really technical. Do you have an almond-shaped face? You know, do you have a square face? So it looks into all of that. And here's what the police do. They end up gathering all this information. Mind you, you're not a criminal. You haven't done anything wrong. You're just living your life in China, or at least you're trying to, right? You're just trying to go low-key under the radar, yet and still they're monitoring you. For what? Now, I know that we've discussed Snowden and why Snowden's in Russia right now, because he found out that U.S. was collecting data on his citizens and did not let us know, all right? China's letting their citizens know this is what we're doing. This is how we're going to keep law and order in this goddamn place right here. This is what we're going to do. So they have more images. Come to find out, they have more images than Homeland Security, by the way, than the United States Homeland Security. And so when you're on the street, it's like, okay, so I picked this because you're just a number. You're just a fucking number. You're not even, like, it's like as if you're also a bot or you're an AI. You know? What is it with them? And it's funny because I think sometimes, like, is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? Would there be less crime? You know, and I didn't even look up. Michael, do you know what the crime rate is in China?
I have no idea.
I'll have to get back to you guys on that. That is something I'm going to have to take a look at because I do wonder what it is. Is their crime rate low? So,
Probably.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Maybe we do need something like that over here. But we wouldn't go for it. We want a little bit of privacy.
Bullshit.
Huh?
We don't want any privacy.
What are you talking about?
We give away our privacy freely.
How do we give away our privacy?
Every time we give a login and bring on our social media. Every time we turn on our phone. Every time we say, hey, I want to download this app.
Okay, but I'm talking about their, like when you go to the grocery store and you go into the store and you're just doing a little shopping, you know, or you go to a club, like you're going out to party. Are you being surveilled? These people get surveilled 24/7.
Well, we're coming towards that.
Yeah, well, it seems like it. That's why I said I'm going to evaluate both ends of it. You know, who's worse, China or we? They analyze the color of their clothes, if they're wearing glasses or not, their name, ID, where they live, the apps they use, their nationality, their voice, their DNA, and they take a scan of the iris. That is what these cameras do when they look. When the cameras are looking out into the streets and they see all these people, this is what they do. And they all get designated a number, as you can see. They all have a number. So, like, what are they? And the police use these phones, that they call them Wi-Fi sniffers, which are hidden in the cameras. And they wait for the public and they track their outgoing, like, communication. Oh, what happened? No, you didn't. You just have to screw it back in.
I thought you was on the show right now.
Oh, hell no. We are on a show, but you know, we do it live. You know how we do it. Anyways, Michael just broke his little camera. That sucks. Yeah. Anyways, they look at everything. All right. So if you post something not to their liking. So, okay. So this brings me back to TikTok. It took me a little minute to get going because I was so damn exhausted, but here I am. I'm back. Brings me back to TikTok, right? They do not let their citizens use TikTok in the same fashion that we use TikTok, even though it was created by a Chinese man, and the parent company is in China. All right? So their people in China can only use TikTok to use it for educational purposes, to learn. Right? Outside of that, oh no, cannot. And if you go against the standards, then the police they immediately have companies waiting for them to say, hey, so-and-so went to and looked at this aspect, this part of TikTok, and we don't like that. Go track their asses down. Just like that. So then the police do that. The police go to social media and the social media companies, and they give them their name, the device that they're on, and how they can find you, where you've been, what apps you have, just to kind of formulate an entire picture of the person that they're about to go take down. Person that they're going to literally probably put in jail because they went and looked at TikTok or get fined or what have you. So they are very detailed with it. One of the companies is called MegV. And it's one of the biggest surveillance data companies in China that works with China. Now, here in the U.S., this is what I know. If, let's say, there is a suspect, something happens, and the police, the FBI, Secret Service, they want to know, who is this person? Oh, well, he's been on Facebook. Hey, Facebook, we want to know who this guy is. You can't, Facebook just doesn't give you that information. Like, they have to come with warrants and subpoenas and all this other stuff in order to get that information. And even then, Facebook still doesn't even have to give it. But in China, it's a whole nother story. They're willingly giving this information. They work hand in hand with their criminal department, with the police department. Anyways,
I think you're...
you think I'm exaggerating?
I think you're making the American tech companies, giving them too much of a nice presentation. They sell that data. They don't, it's not they give it away. It's like you got to buy that data. That data is not something for free. And so, you know, all the stuff that they're collecting, they're putting it out on the open market for other people, including other countries, to purchase. So this whole thing that, oh, China, and then in some cases, they say that, you know, who knows, Facebook and these social media companies are like part of the government. The CIA has direct access. I mean, you told me how people in Twitter, all they have to do is work for Twitter. You don't think CIA works for Twitter and has access to that data?
I said they had people planted from China, from Russia, were planted inside of Twitter to relay information back.
And you don't think the U.S. has CIA agents doing the same thing?
You know what? I'm not sure.
Of course they do.
I mean, maybe they do, but we're not talking about the U.S. That's next week.
Well, no.
I'm talking about China right now.
But you just said that, oh, yeah, China willingly and able
gives
their information to government agencies.
Okay, but
you don't think that Twitter and Facebook are doing the same thing? That's what I'm saying. It's a little naive.
Do you remember that situation that occurred? What was the guy? Some guy they were looking for. I would have to go back and pull up the story. There was someone they were looking for, and they wanted to get the information from Facebook. Facebook would not give the United States government and law enforcement the information. And it was actually in the news. It was a battle between Facebook releasing it because of privacy concerns, and it took a minute before the U.S. was able to get, or the government or, law enforcement was able to get that information from Facebook. Whereas in China, it seems as if, from what I've saw and what I've read, they work hand in hand with them. And so what you're saying is they do that here, but we're just sneaky about it.
That's my perspective. Yes.
Okay, well, that's a fair assessment. I can't say that that's not the case, because I know for a fact that there's a lot going on behind the scenes. And I've always thought that even in my own situation that something was going on internal. Like somebody's working for this company and pulling some strings to be able to do the things that I have happening. So I get it. Anyways, I did want to say, what's the next picture I have up? Yeah, so I thought this was a cute They're documenting everything. So not only these cameras are they looking at just clothes and the physicalities, they're going even more in depth. Like, wait a minute. It says social credit. What kind of human being is this? Is he an upstanding citizen, or has he already committed some crimes? It's going through all of that.
Social credit goes into, are you going to these websites? Are you listening to us and following our instructions? And are you becoming that very good citizen? Have you taken your latest vaccine lately? Did you stay in the house during lockdowns? If you didn't
But it's
comply,
also looking at if they have a criminal record or not.
well, everybody looks at your criminal record. Do you?
No, the cameras, no, this is automatic though. The cameras in our street, down the street, if we were to walk out the building right now, and the cameras right here on the corner saw us walking, it's not relaying information back to somebody sitting at a desk whether or not we're a criminal. I can't say, actually. I don't even fucking know, to tell you the truth. I don't think so.
If I was a betting man, and I don't know the answer to this question, I would bet that they are. And if they're not, I'm sure that will be a soon feature.
Oh, it's coming. Why do you think the U.S. is fighting so hard to get the data? This is shit they couldn't get on their own. 150 million people. I don't know why. We got all these tech companies. We got Silicon Valley. I was living over there.
It's the demographics. Okay, so
that's true. Good point.
Demographics that they really want, which are these young kids, aren't going to Facebook, aren't going to Twitter. They're going to TikTok. So they're missing out on this data that they can't really get from anywhere. They're not getting all their user information that's coming in 4 or 5 times out of the day and looking at these particular video who are the age between 10 and 16 and 19. They're not getting that data.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Why do you think that China so heavily surveils their citizens?
Control.
That is one. What's another one?
I'm sure they're selling the data too, but control, making sure they have outstanding citizens.
Right, and they also use it mainly to track criminal behavior. Anything that may be out of line with their standards, like you said, you behave, they crack the whip that way. You're going to be like this. Remember that time when I heard there was a time where in China,
I guess the word criminal behavior needs to be defined.
Well,
I
that
see
means
criminal
anything,
behavior when somebody breaks, stealing, fraud, hurting another individual.
Well, it's so detailed in China, I swear. You look at somebody the wrong way, it could be a crime.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. You got the cameras all over you. And next minute you know you're at your house sitting there, sipping on some wine after a long day of work. And here comes the police. So anyways, they have real sensitive biometrics that are so above and beyond any other nation.
Biometrics?
They're biometrics, yeah.
What is a biometric?
They're sensitive biometrics. Like when you're using your finger, when they're scanning your facial recognition, fingerprints, your iris, all of that is considered biometrics. So I know you know that. Why the hell are you asking me a question you already know?
Because the audience may not know.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm being dumb.
Oh, okay. Because I'm like, I know you know what that means. Anyways.
I didn't know the details.
I know you know. You see here, you guys, Michael's a techie. So he knows probably even more than I do.
I don't.
It's just I'm the one that got hacked so bad. So I'm going off of the shit I've been going through. So, and I got my master's in it. So a little credibility there. But still.
There's many tech areas. This is
there's
my
so
area
many different areas. Anyways, they're collecting a lot of these samples, all right? And they collect them. And here's another thing they're doing. They're collecting the male DNA. Now, why do you think they're collecting male DNA?
You help me out. That's beyond my pay grade.
Well, pay grade, my God. Anyways, they're collecting it, and here's what I heard. Here's what was stated, and this is what I think. Okay, so what was stated is they're collecting the male DNA to look back at their genetic history and collecting the family history and just going back through that what is it called again? Go back through their genealogical timeline type thing, right? That's why they say they collect it. But what I believe that they're collecting it because they're trying to make some kind of superhuman man or something.
And how do they do that?
I don't know. Maybe they'll make they'll use all the DNA that they've collected from men and use that to when they're when they're programming and they're coding, just like they make the AIs. Right.
Steve
Maybe
Austin.
they're trying to make this superhuman male AI.
A man barely alive.
Seriously.
We can rebuild him.
Yeah.
We have the technology.
You know what I'm saying?
We can make him better than he was.
Right. We can make
Better.
it better than the best. So
Stronger.
take all the male DNA.
Smarter.
Right.
Faster.
Get the best of those DNAs from the men. Oh my God, he's tripping. Get the best of the DNA and then create an AI, which is artificial intelligence, that is a combination of the best male DNA in China. Now, it could be so far-fetched, but when I was listening to it, I was like, they're up to something else. There's something even more sinister going on here.
Diabolical.
So, yeah, pretty much. And guess what else they want to do?
I don't know.
Why else do you think, just take a wild guess, why else do you think they would collect the male DNA? TikTok.
They can figure out, predict diseases, predict health.
There it is.
Information on your genetic code.
Well, the future. I mean, that's the bottom line. They're trying to predict things that can happen in the future. They want to be more prepared for anything that happens in the future. If they can get a hold of it in this day and age, in the future, when it happens, they're prepared. They're already prepared. Here's another picture I chose because the cameras are also determining and being able to look at a person and say, wait a minute, his body size is different than his body size. But is that because maybe, okay, let's say one of the pictures, the guy in the striped shirt, right? Let's say that this picture was taken of him 2 weeks prior to the other picture, because they kind of look like the same person. But they're going off of the shape of the person. So it is that detailed where it's going more so into the body now. They're looking at the body. Is this shape the same as this other shape, so that they can say, okay, that let's say if this guy committed a crime, or let's say he went on TikTok and he looked at pornography. I don't know, is pornography allowed in China? Because I see there's a lot of Chinese girl on pornography, so I would think so.
But the head looks different a little bit, maybe.
It looks like he lost some hair.
Head.
But don't you see how they're standing though? His hands, the way his hands are hanging, the way his fingers are, the width of the thumb.
So is this
that's a unique way of standing, but at the same time it's hard to tell.
Supposedly the same man?
I'm not sure.
Oh.
But they were talking about the body types and just their cameras being so intrusive to the point where it's like defining body types and using that to monitor their citizens. And so I don't know. I mean, is it the same person or not?
I don't know.
I think that it is the same person. He just gained a little weight. That's what I think.
It could be.
Because of the way his hands are. Unless all Asian men hold their hands like that.
Well, what's
And
the
I highly
biggest
doubt that.
stereotype? All black people look alike? Don't all Chinese people look alike?
No, absolutely not. Okay. They don't.
I know.
I never thought that.
I'm just trying to sound ignorant.
Oh, I was going to say, yeah, because that's totally ignorant. But we don't do ignorant over here. So anyways, let's wrap this thing up. Because bottom line is, China has way more invasive technology and cameras looking upon their citizens on every move that they make. They probably even have to clock in before they go to bed. And when I say clock in,
you take,
huh?
every move
Right. Even when you go to bed, maybe it's like, how you go into work and you punch a time card. I wouldn't be surprised if you have to like do some little, maybe breathe into something before you lay down and go to sleep, or press a button letting them know lights out type thing. This household is going down for the night. So if any crimes are committed, we didn't do it because we're in bed. And your cameras can show that we're laying here. So you don't have to worry about us. Go on to the next household. I don't know, man. It's wild the amount of surveillance that they have. And there's actually more. I didn't have time because I literally had a meeting before this, but there is something else that I was sent by Neff, who helps produce the show, and how invasive China's surveillance is. And so I'll bring that to you guys next week. And then we'll also examine what the U.S. has going on. So at least we can kind of compare. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's way more than what I discussed here, but just based on what I discussed on this show, we'll see what's going on in the U.S., and then we'll make a comparison. We already know, hands down, that China is way more, what's the word, Michael?
Invasive?
Not invasive, but they are far ahead. Yeah, they're so much more advanced than we are. As far as that's concerned, but maybe the U.S. is more advanced and we're just trying not to say nothing. Maybe we ain't trying to showboat it. We ain't trying to let everybody know what we doing. We don't want you to know. We don't want the right hand to know what the left hand is doing.
The U.S. is actually jealous of the pace that China can implement their technology because the government regulations move things much faster. We have a lot of bureaucracy. If you wanted to go ahead and create a new system, you got to have the Environmental Association check it out. You got to have all these other particular bylines check it out. So there's a time that it takes longer to implement things because we're so free. And
pretty much.
So the U.S. wants to reduce or contract or remove our freedoms so they can have the business world implement much faster. And who cares?
Well, so you're saying that they don't know how to do it like China. Bottom line, because China already is locking all that shit you're talking about. China has that shit locked down.
No. Our so-called civil rights are much better written in to protect the natural citizens than China. So if they can remove our civil liberties, and I say that with my quotation marks, they're able to implement things a lot faster. It's our civil liberties that is slowing down, and I'm using this in quotes too, innovation in America.
All right. Well, with that said, we are going to close it out because it's we have no privacy anymore. I don't care where you're living. At the end of unless you're in a third world country, like where my mom is from and my dad is from. They're not as advanced as we are yet. But if you're here in the U.S. or in China, I mean, what is privacy? I had a friend tell me that works for the government. Well, he worked for the government. He told me when I was going through all this shit, he's like, well, Val, if you've got nothing to hide, don't worry about it. And I was like, what? Nigga, like, what? Like, I literally saw that as a problem because I value my privacy. I just want a little bit. Even if I'm not even really having that privacy, like I'm not getting that privacy, meaning they're all in my business, of government and what have you. I like to think I have some kind of privacy, at least I thought I did. But I guess not. So anyways, thank you guys so much for joining us here on OneStream.tv. I'm your girl, Val Forensic Gal, right here on CyberSecureyou. And check us out next week, and we'll evaluate what kind of surveillance the United States has going on, and then we'll compare. China, United States. Which is it? All right, peace out. Have a great week or weekend. It's Friday.
Bye.
Peace. That's Ecor's wolf thing. I got all my pictures in? Yeah, I guess.